Alright guys, it's your boy Otaku Phil here. I haven't done any videos in a minute. Give you guys a bit of an update. It's nice and warm out here in California. Outside messing with my car again. Slowly but surely it'll eventually get done. So I figured I'd give you an update on exactly what's been going on in my life. I'm still at ATP flight school. It is May 5th, and despite the coronavirus, we're still in operations. Yeah, still in operations. Mainly because even though ATP is a large school, they still work like a Part 61, which is basically like small schools. So we don't have any group grounds. We're not allowed to be in the facility. So basically we plan flights and we'll go directly to the plane, and it'll just be you and your instructor. So you're only two people, which is what allowed in California, and we just fly. If you need ground or any classes, that's all handled online, via the Zoom, or we have a bunch of online classes and stuff like that going on that you have to do either way. So we've been going strong and continuing to go like normal. I luckily just got my instrument rating, which is pretty nuts when you think about it, because literally just like 2 months ago I could barely follow some basic navigation, much less now be able to be qualified to fly in full clouds, weather, IMC as we call it, via just straight instrument references, where a lot of pilots, it's scary to them, it's still scary to me. There's been plenty of times where I'm just like, yeah, we're on an instrument flight plan, but if possible, I'd like to avoid just going through a bunch of clouds. But I just got certified. I did my check ride and passed it on Saturday. So now I'm moving on to the crew phase. And the crew phase is basically where you fly with another student and you do a lot of time building. So, it's not as hectic as when you're doing, your private or your instrument or even commercial, because you're still studying for the commercial, but it's mostly about time building. So that's pretty cool, and that's what I'm going to start doing here. I just had my first crew session today, and then tomorrow we're doing a flight with an instructor, and it's like a mini evaluation, and after that it's just straight on to flying. So that's pretty neat. Now I will tell you, my time during instrument, ATP is not bad. The thing about ATP is you get your time in fast. Again, there were a couple things where I probably wouldn't do as a private pilot for safety. Like I just wouldn't, for my own well-being, I just wouldn't do it. And it's nothing major. It's mainly just a couple of procedural things that I wouldn't do just for flow or whatever. But they do it, as I say, as if they were doing the airlines. So that's what they do. Now, as far as the instrument check ride went, the check ride was pretty straightforward. The guy, he didn't try to trip me up. There was a couple things that he said that I felt were a little unnecessary. He asked about some systems that were a little older, about like ADF and the MON system, and some old VOR stuff that just stuff like that. Like one of the questions he asked me was like, he's like, you're coming in for an approach, and this is all pilot jargon, but he's like, you're coming in for an approach and you have a final approach fix, which tells you when you can start descending towards the airport and all that good stuff. And he's like, what do you do with your second VOR? And I'm like, well, typically my second VOR I would set up for my missed approach, because often missed approaches will have you go to a specific point and it might have you reference via VOR. So I set it up for that. And then he's like, well, what about setting it up for your final approach fix? And I'm like, why would I set up a VOR for final approach fix when every plane that we have uses GPS? So I'm like, if it's a VOR, sure, I could use VOR and I could use distances, and if my plane has DME or distance measuring equipment, then I would just do that. But why do all that when the GPS is so much more accurate than anything else? And then he's like, well, that's just one thing you can do. And I'm like, okay, look, dude, no airline out there is using VORs to double check affixed. They're all using GPS. GPS is the most accurate. So you're just like, okay, he's nitpicking about it, but yeah, sure, I can do that. I would. I personally probably use my VOR for something else, but it could be done. It's little things like that. Now, I will tell you one thing though. Training for IFR sucks. Oh my god, I hated IFR so much. It's just such a slog. You know, there are some flying IFR isn't the most difficult thing. The hardest part is the approaches, and that's one of the things you'll practice the most is approaches. It's mainly just the long hours of just getting that cross country in and just spending hours of just staring at the instruments going in a straight line sucks. And it's all hand flown. We don't have any planes with autopilot, so you can't fly autopilot. It's all hand flown, and it sucks a lot. It really becomes a slog. So just stick with it and just know that it'll be over eventually. Being an IFR is easier than flying VFR because you don't have to really worry so much about where you're going and what you're doing. It's more just you're told what to do, and then you have the approach plates which tell you what to do, and you're just following that. And so it's not so hard. So if you're a pilot and you're interested in getting your instrument rating, definitely get it. It'll make you a better pilot. You definitely increase your aerodynamic controls and your decision making. You get to do things a lot faster, so you tighten a lot of things up. So even if you don't finish your IFR, just having that training helps a lot. So if you do end up in IMC by mistake, it's no longer a matter of, oh my god, where I'm looking around. No, you just know immediate, boom, you focus on your attitude indicator, you check your speeds, you check your altitudes, you get into that flow, and it becomes a lot faster and easier, and you become a lot more competent at stuff like that. So if you're interested in an instrument, definitely pursue it, and it'll just help you out in the long run either way. So yeah, IFR sucked, but it's done. I think the approaches are the hardest part, mainly because they have really tight tolerances. You can't get too far below, you can't be too far behind, you can't be too fast, you can't be too slow. You got to be on those marks, you got to get those altitudes at the specific time, and so that makes it a little difficult. And it's just, you got to really be tighter on your flying in general. And so being IFR rated really helps a lot. Other than that, still going to school, still flying, still putting in those hours. My Beetle's still down. I just haven't had the time and the money to really get it done, and it's been hard to get anything done around here. Even things like getting small repair stuff on my bike. So many shops just aren't open, and it's a bit of a pain. Other than that, I've just been living. Still trying to deal. I unfortunately haven't been working much. I do security on the side, so every now and then I'll get those gigs. The bus company I was with really just let us, the small shuttle bus company I was with let a lot of people go because 90% of their business was from international flights, and so those international flights are just so few and far between now that pretty much it just took a big toll. So they laid a lot of us off, so we're not working. So that's basically what I've been doing. I know some people are worried about pilot jobs. So as far as pilot jobs go, we do have a couple of instructors who are close to getting their hours, and now that the companies that they had contracts with are pretty much shut down as far as taking in new pilots and training. So a lot of people are trying to find extra gigs. A lot of people are, getting any hours wherever they can, and getting any little cash they can. Because there's still students out there. There's still people who want to fly. Still people who want to train. So, I wouldn't say there's so much a shortage of people needing to train and people wanting to become pilots. I just say there's a shortage of those mainline and those major company gigs. Now, me personally, I'm not really looking to go to one of the big airlines. Or I wouldn't say I'm not looking to go to one of the big passenger carriers. I'm not trying to be a United or American or Delta pilot. Now, I want to be a cargo dog. So the car companies are still working. They're working strong. They're still hiring. So I want to eventually get into the FedEx purple pathways. With purple pathways, you start flying small 208s, and then eventually, after putting in some years, you work your way up to um, the major jets and all that stuff, flying their 777 or 767, or their you may even do their twin turboprops. So that's what I personally would like to do. I like the concept of flying into small airports, flying cargo, flying in the backwoods, all that stuff. I like doing that. So that's my dream. So yeah, if you guys, um, I I don't know what's going on with Greyhound too much. I haven't talked to any of my friends there. As far as I've seen, people are still driving. They're just probably not driving as much. The main thing about Greyhound is Greyhound still is a vital piece of the American infrastructure. So they, just like being a city bus driver, they need those routes to be available to small towns, to small areas. They may not be driving as much, but they still need them. So I haven't heard too much about drivers being laid off. I think they're definitely getting fewer hours. So if you are still interested in driving, I can guarantee you that they're probably still hiring. You know. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. I'll try to answer them when I can. And if you're interested in flying, still keep at it. It may not be today, but those jobs are going to come back. Those jobs are going to be there. And the schools are still going strong. School. If you're doing a small mom and pop, it's not a big deal for you and your instructor to get out, because many of the schools are at major FBOs or fixed base operations, so the planes are still available. It's mainly just, do the instructors want to be out there, flying with people. And if you're lucky, you get one or two people that you're flying with, you may be okay. You might still be going. So yeah, this is your boy Taco Phil. I'll talk to you guys later, and thanks for watching my videos. If you're an X-Plane fan, I still post videos of that, because I still do a lot of that, and there's a lot of people still doing that. I'll keep you guys updated on my Beetle and work and life and all that good stuff. And thanks for watching my videos. I'll talk to you guys later.